There's something about you that people can't quite explain. It's not your beauty, although Libras almost always have that too. It's not your intelligence. It's not your calculated grace. It's not the right smile at the right moment. It's something else. Something that lingers after you leave the room, a kind of absence that weighs heavily, as if the atmosphere has shrunk as soon as you're gone. And most people around you will never tell you this directly, because they themselves don't know how to name it. They only know that they think about you more than they planned, that sometimes they wake up with your voice in their head, with a detail of yours that's been playing around, something you said, the way you looked, or that specific silence you made when everyone expected you to speak. This is no accident. It's not luck. It's not a seduction strategy you consciously learned or practice. It's a mechanism, and it's operating inside you all the time, even when you're trying to erase it. Because that's where the first thing most people get wrong about Libra lies. They look at Libra's charm and think it's deliberate, that it's a performance, that it's the result of someone who has worked hard to please, to seem light, to seem easy to be around. And some of that has a grain of truth. Libra does indeed calibrate, does indeed adjust, does indeed sense the temperature of the room before entering it. But that's not what creates the attraction. What creates the attraction is deeper, it's quieter. It's almost impossible to see, and for that very reason, impossible to ignore. Think about how you feel when you're around someone who isn't trying anything, who isn't selling a version of themselves, isn't competing, isn't performing. Someone who simply exists, who listens in a way that makes you think you said something smarter than you did, who makes silence feel comfortable and conflict seem less burdensome. This is the field that Libra creates naturally, not because they trained for it, because that's how Libra works internally. Libra's nervous system is continuously reading what the environment needs, calibrating, smoothing edges, finding the point of balance that no one else was seeing. And people feel it. They don't know they're feeling it, but they do. They'll be back. They text you at 11 o'clock at night for no specific reason. They think of you in the middle of a conversation with someone else. They keep thinking about you even when they consciously decide not to. And this is where things start to get uncomfortable, because Libra usually doesn't really know this, or knows vaguely, but doesn't believe it. Because Libra is also, somewhere inside, convinced that they need to try harder to be loved, that what they naturally have isn't enough, that they need to be more interesting, more available, more light-hearted, more something that hasn't yet found a name. And it is precisely this effort, this insistence on building an improved version of herself for others to consume, that sometimes obscures what is already working, what is already silently pulling everything and everyone around her along. But what you still don't fully understand is what happens when someone comes into contact with that real gravity, with the real, unedited field. Not the one you chose to show, but the one that escapes you when you're not paying attention. Because it's in that escape that things change completely. It's when someone can no longer stay away. What escapes you without you even realizing it? That question lingered in the air, and it demands an answer that goes beyond what any superficial conversation can achieve. It was while searching for answers to this that I found this digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose. It's not a guide on how to be more seductive. It's a map of what Libra carries internally. Those layers that no one taught you to name, but that are operating within you all the time. It talks about that invisible field you create, about what happens when you stop editing your own presence to fit into other people's space. It treats Libra not as a sign of superficial grace, but as a force that is still learning the true weight of its own existence. You're processing this now. Something has lingered, a pleasant discomfort, the kind that arises when someone gets something right that you already knew but never had the words to name. This is the moment to capture that, The version of you that understands all this mechanics, that understands the gravity it carries, acts differently, chooses differently, attracts differently. The link is in the first pinned comment. But be aware, this content may be taken down. Click now and download your copy. Leave a comment. Is there someone in your life who stayed, who came back, who simply can't get you out of their head even after everything? How did you feel when you realized how serious this situation was? There's a pattern in Libra that almost no one sees from the outside, but that Libra knows intimately, even if they've never put it into words like this. You enter a room and immediately feel the temperature. You sense who is comfortable, who is tense, who needs what. And what Libra often does with this information, almost like an automatic reflex, is adjust itself to become a little smaller, a little less intense, a little more palatable to what the environment seems to support at that moment. It's almost automatic. Libra doesn't consciously decide to do this. It simply happens, like a light dimmer that dims on its own whenever it senses it's illuminating a space that doesn't seem prepared for so much light. And there's an internal logic to this behavior that makes perfect emotional sense. If I don't shine so brightly, no one will feel overshadowed. If I don't want it so much, no one will feel pressured. If I'm not so much myself, no one will leave. But this logic has a serious problem that Libra is slow to see. What people feel when Libra dims the lights isn't comfort, it's loss. It's an environment that suddenly becomes more commonplace, more predictable, easier to ignore. The beauty of a well-lit room doesn't bother anyone. It's welcoming, and when you turn off that light, even with the best of intentions, the room doesn't become more comfortable. It becomes darker. Libra learns early on that being too much is a risk, too emotional, too opinionated, too many gifts. And over the years, it accumulates a collection of edited versions of itself, each developed for a specific context, for a specific person, for an environment that seemed to call for a smaller, more manageable Libra. But there comes a point where this behavior stops being intelligent adaptation and starts being silent sabotage. Because while Libra is busy shrinking to fit in, there's someone around trying to find the whole Libra, someone who feels something is missing, that they're almost reaching something real but never quite get there. They're left with that specific feeling of having met Libra, but not really. And this person, without being able to explain why, feels they need more. Not a different Libra, more of this Libra, the one that hasn't fully appeared yet. There's one thing Libra hides masterfully, not out of malice, hides out of fear of a specific kind of vulnerability, the kind that comes from truly wanting something and letting that desire be seen. Libra wants, sometimes wants a lot, wants a person, wants a situation, wants to be chosen in a very specific way. But instead of letting this wanting appear directly, instead of letting it occupy the space it deserves, Libra disguises it as flexibility. It doesn't matter, whatever you prefer. I adapt. And there's a part of Libra that truly believes those words. But there's another part, the part that stays up late into the night, that you know really wanted it, that he knew exactly what he wanted and chose not to ask, that he felt the desire growing and instead of naming it, transformed it into availability. And what happens to a desire that finds no outlet? Tension will come, an invisible current that those around feel without being able to name it. Have you ever been close to someone like that? Someone who seems completely calm, completely available, but who has something in the air around them. A quality you perceive without understanding where it comes from. It is Libra's unspoken desire. It is the emotion that is there, pulsating, but which has not found permission to truly emerge. And the effect of this on those close to Libra is fascinating and unsettling at the same time, because the person around feels they are almost reaching something, that there is a version of Libra that has not yet been fully revealed. And this creates an attraction that has no rational logic but is absolutely real. Imagine a river current. On the surface, the water seems calm, but as soon as you enter, you feel something moving you. Not violently, precisely, in a direction you didn't choose. This is how Libra's unspoken desire works. You don't see it, but you will. And when that desire finally finds permission to appear, when Libra looks at someone and lets the wanting be visible, without editing, without diminishing, something in the dynamic changes completely. What was attractive became a need. What was interesting became urgent. That current you just recognized, that desire that lies beneath the surface, moving everything without showing itself, is one of the deepest and least understood patterns in Libra's nature. The digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose, addresses exactly this point. It maps how Libra learns, throughout life, to bury its own desires, to preserve harmony around it. And the silent cost of this in every relationship, in every moment when Libra said, whatever, when in reality it knew exactly what it wanted. It's not a book that judges this pattern. It's a book that illuminates its entire mechanics and shows what becomes possible when Libra decides to stop apologizing for its own desires. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. There comes a point, and Libra knows what I'm talking about, even if they've never put it into words like this, when the weariness of adapting hits in a different way. It's not anger. It's not accumulated resentment. It's something gentler and deeper at the same time. A kind of quiet exhaustion, as if Libra woke up on an ordinary day and realized they'd spent a long time being the version of themselves that the environment demanded and not the version they themselves chose. This moment is a turning point. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's silent, almost unnoticed from the outside. A small, almost imperceptible decision to stop adjusting, to stop calibrating for the comfort of others, to stop asking permission to exist the way we do. And what's happening around Libra right now is something she can rarely predict. People sense it immediately. They don't know what changed, but there's a different quality to Libra's presence when she stops running from herself. A density that wasn't there before, as if before Libra was present at 70%, still beautiful, still magnetic, but as if 30% of something essential was always missing, and suddenly that 30% appears. Think of a star. There's nothing a star needs to do to make you look at it. It doesn't invite you. It doesn't dim its light so as not to disturb you. It simply is, and you can't help but look. Not because you're trying, because that's how real gravity works. When Libra stops apologizing for their own presence, this is what happens with that specific quality of someone who has finally stopped fighting against their own weight and has landed, who has ceased to be a negotiated version of themselves. And what about the people around them? Those who sensed there was more of Libra to be found, but never quite got there. They arrive, and when they arrive, they realize they can no longer stay away. What happens when Libra finally stops editing itself and its whole presence emerges is one of the most powerful transformations that astrology maps for this sign. The digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose, describes this process from the inside out, not as a behavioral technique, but as a deep understanding of how you are structured. What is working when you are whole, and what is blocked when you are erasing yourself to fit into the space of others. A material that treats the search for real balance, not superficial harmony, as the most important work that Libra can do for itself. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. The fear that Libra has about this place of complete presence is not easy to admit aloud, but it is real, and it deserves to be named. It's the fear that if she shows up completely, with the full weight of her presence, with her unedited desires, with the intensity that exists inside and is so carefully guarded, some people will leave. And the cruel thing about this fear is that it has a real basis, because there is indeed a sorting out that happens when Libra stops fading away. There are people who have become accustomed to the diminished version, who felt comfortable with a Libra that never asked for much, that never took up much space. And when that version changes, when that missing 30% finally appears, not everyone stays. Libra knows this, senses it even before it happens, and it is precisely this knowledge that makes the decision to be whole seem like an enormous risk, a risk that Libra sometimes doesn't feel entitled to take. But there is something that this fear cannot see clearly. What goes away when Libra stops fading away isn't what truly loved her. It's what needed her to feel small in order to feel safe. And there's a huge difference between those two things. A difference that Libra, with all her ability to read relationships, sometimes fails to see because she's too caught up in fear. Think of a bird that has spent too much time in a cage, not because someone forced it to stay there, but because it has learned, over time, to doubt its own ability to fly. It hasn't lost its wings. You've lost the certainty that they work. The price of Libra's authenticity isn't losing people. It's realizing that some of the connections she guarded so carefully only existed because she was flying low. And what remains, what stays, what returns uninvited, what cannot stay away, is something completely different. It's not someone who needed a smaller Libra. It's someone who was dragged along by the gravity of the entire Libra. That's the difference between being tolerated and being irresistible. And Libra is much closer to second place than you might think. And we arrive at the point where the title of this video truly takes on its meaning. Someone won't be able to bear being away from you. Not as an exaggeration, not as a vague promise, as a natural consequence of something that was already at work within you even before you understood what it was. This person, and perhaps you already know who it is, or perhaps you don't yet, or perhaps they've already arrived and you haven't recognized them yet, is not being manipulated. They are not responding to a technique. They are responding to something fundamental, to a force as real as gravity, yet as invisible as gravity itself. Gravity doesn't ask. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't try to convince you that it exists. It simply acts, and you fall. Not because you didn't resist enough, because that's how it works. When Libra understands this about herself, when she stops trying to convince people that she is enough and starts simply being, something in the architecture of the relationships around her changes silently and irreversibly. The person who was hesitating feels that the choice was theirs to make. The person who was distancing themselves finds, in some quiet moment, that the space they tried to create between you has a weight that won't go away. The person who decided they no longer wanted Libra in their life wakes up one ordinary night thinking about them for no specific reason, and stays with that thought for longer than they planned. This isn't magic, but it's very close. It is the result of a presence that stopped asking for permission, that stopped lowering the dimmer to protect the comfort of others, that stopped hiding desire and stopped pretending it doesn't matter when it clearly doesn't. It's a complete Libra, and a complete Libra doesn't need to chase anyone. It doesn't need to convince anyone that it's worthwhile. It doesn't need to shrink to fit into the hearts of those around it. She just needs to finally stop running. This endpoint, where Libra stops running and attraction becomes gravitational, is exactly what the digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose, explores with real depth, not in a generic way. Mapping the specific architecture of Libra, how this field of presence works, what activates it, what blocks it, and how Libra can begin to live consciously from this place. It's the kind of material you read and feel like someone finally saw what was operating within you, even before you saw it. A guide that doesn't treat Libra as a sign of superficial charm, but as a force that is still discovering its own weight. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. There is a specific kind of peace that comes after you stop fighting against your own weight. Not the peace of someone who gave up, the peace of someone who landed, of someone who looked inside and found something that didn't need to be justified, diminished, or presented with a premature apology. Libra will, at some point, and that moment may be much closer than it seems, stop wondering if it's enough. And when that happens, it won't be because someone finally convinced them of it from the outside. It will be because they themselves stopped needing that external conviction. And someone, somewhere, will feel this change. They will search for the reason and won't find an answer that makes complete sense. They will only know that something in you has changed, that the distance you tried to put between you is too heavy, that not being able to stand being apart anymore isn't a choice. It's a response to something that can't be ignored. Libra is not a sign of easy harmony. It never has been. It's a sign of hard-won balance, of someone who has learned, sometimes through pain and sometimes through beauty, to calibrate the world around them while trying not to lose themselves completely in the process. Someone who feels the discomfort of others before feeling their own, who sees the point of equilibrium that no one else was seeing, who creates a space where people become more whole, and who often forgets, in this whole process, to create that space for themselves first. But Libra's deepest beauty isn't in a perfectly balanced scale. It's in that specific moment when she realizes she doesn't need to balance everything, that she can simply be with her true weight, with her desires, with the intensity that has always existed but has been kept hidden for too long. And that, in itself, is enough to move the world around.